وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So this is our third session in the second phase of the mentorship program. And what we'll be doing at the beginning of every session, inshallah, just always giving a quick reminder of what we did in the first phase and what the second phase is going to be about. This is a little bit different. The second phase is more focused on practical tools, things to do, changes to make in your life, how to do them. Any change in life that is worth having is gradual for the most part. Changes that stick with you or changes that you make a quick mental change, like from a conviction perspective, you end up thinking in one way and then you kind of abruptly think in the other, but then to actually change behaviors, it takes time, and things that are worth having usually take quite a bit of time for you to break bad habits and build new ones, which is what this phase of the mentorship program is going to focus on, actually giving you tools to do it. We spend a lot of time talking about what people try and do and how that's going to help them, and then really we kind of lose the ball after that from a mashayikh perspective because no one knows how to actually get it done. I can say that growing up I did. Why is it so small? What happened? Puny. We had a lot of mulazam and musahaba. I mean, we spent a lot of time with teachers. People were a little bit older in age and kind of closer to retirement, so they didn't really have day jobs that they had to go to. So it was easier to actually spend time with them and to observe how they lived and to go with them through their da'wah and watch their daily habits and learn from them and actually take some of those habits with us. I don't think that's possible in the West. I just don't see it happening for a very long time. So in the meantime, in order for people to learn habits and to actually observe behavior, I think this is probably the next best thing, if not probably even equally good. This is just a summary of the basic building blocks that we went through, like the 7 topics that I covered. I think over 8 months or 9 months. I think it took us to kind of get through all of them if you take out Ramadan. It's quite a bit of time. I talked about the fundamental principle of iqra and the respect and pursuit of knowledge and the traits that are required in order for someone to be a lifelong learner. That was the first point that we covered. And then I talked about activism, qiyam, as a way of practicing Islam. I talked about stewardship and service as the 2 defining characteristics of being human, even aside from being Muslim, but of being human. Very, I don't know, maybe turn off the light or something. Try to turn off the light. I can't even see it. Talked about using jihad as a state of mind and spirit to move forward and accomplish goals. Talked about embracing tawheed as the anchor of faith and ethics and values. We talked about focusing on personal development and purification. We went through a full, maybe 5 or 6 lessons just talking about tazkiyah alone. And then we talked about following the Prophet ﷺ truly, and we focused on the intellectual aspect of that, not just the physical one. So these are the 7 topics that we went through. And really what our brother Abu Muhammad Ali Barak is going to be going, as he goes through all of his topics, we kind of covered them here: the productivity, mental strength, physical wellness, inner peace and service, and the kind of the optimized practices that exist under it, is to help people gain the tools that they need to actually practice the first 7 points. And inshallah, at the end of this, I know it's a prolonged program, so it's going to go for a long time, and we have people come in and come out and come in and come out, so it may be difficult to kind of measure actual benefit. But I believe that if for the few who actually stick to it for a long time, you'll see it all come together towards the end when it all kind of inshallah makes sense. I'm going, with no further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Muhammad. Today there's a lot of kind of activities and discussions, so I'll give it to Muhammad to kind of take it from here and move the needle along. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining our 3rd session about optimized practice. And what we're going to focus on today, as Sheikh Adnan said, is the first module, which is productivity. And the first part of the first module is basically building habits, adding good ones and removing bad ones. And the first 2 sessions that we spent was focusing on why and how. And inshallah, today what we want to do is pair you up in groups, or put you up in groups, I should say, and get you to kind of tackle the specific questions that we helped you guys think about and reflect on. Because ultimately, changing behavior is super difficult. It is. It's very, very easy. It's much easier to sit, listen to a lecture, and maybe feel great in the moment, and then walk out. And maybe that lasts a day or 2, perhaps. Day 3, day 4, day 5, life hits you in the face, and you forget everything that you were taught, and you go back to what's been programmed in your neural pathways, and it's basically back to the habits that I was doing before. And the habits is, when somebody cuts me off, I get angry. That's actually a habit. That's not a reaction. That's not a normal reaction. Muhammad, my son, always says, well, she made me angry. No, you chose to be angry. You just don't know that you made that choice because you've been making that choice every single time and it's been programmed in your mind. So what we're trying to do is to break that current programming and install new programming instead. So when somebody cuts me off, I actually take a moment and feel gratitude. What? Why would you do that? It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deemed it that I'm in a car. I'm traveling in a vehicle that's probably my own vehicle, and that allowed me to be cut off by somebody else. That's pretty cool, a reflective exercise. Imagine you do that instinctively. Everybody cuts you off, you smile. Alhamdulillah. People will think you're weird, but that's why sometimes we look at Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and say, how could he do that? How could that be his reaction? Somebody comes and grabs Muhammad right here by the cloth, by his collar, and starts shaking him, and he's saying, calm down, take it easy, give him more. How could that be your reaction? It's impossible. It was Muhammad's default reaction, because he was able to program himself in a way where that's constantly how he behaves in the best way possible. So inshallah, that's what we're gonna get into today with the reflective exercises that you guys are gonna do in a group. I love recap because it sticks in my head when I hear it 17 times. It usually my wife needs to tell me something 17 times before I say, okay, now I get it. So I'll pretend that you guys are me and you gotta hear it on and off, inshallah. So please bear with me. So the objective is to move from theory to practice. Theory was the first 8 months or 6 months that we spent talking about the introduction course and the basic pillars, the 7 pillars that Sheikh Adnan talked about, and now we're moving to the practice component. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves actions that are consistent. If they're big, amazing, it's beautiful. If they're grandiose. But typically human beings can't operate at a grandiose level all the time. The Sahaba would come to the Prophet ﷺ, we used this last time, and would say, when we're with you, we're on cloud 9. When we're back home, we're fighting with our wives. They didn't say that, but we're basically busy with our wives and our kids and our jobs and so on and so forth. So we're oscillating. And he said that's normal. He said that's perfect. You know who he said that's normal to? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, his right-hand man. That's who's oscillating. So Allah loves consistency, even if small. If you have to choose between grandiose or consistency is the one that's going to win every time. And we talked about, instead of starting with what do I want to do? What do I want to start? Do I want to do planks every morning? Do I want to read a page of Quran before I go to sleep? Do I want to go to the pool every night? Instead of starting there, you can, there's no issue, but instead of starting there, what you would probably worth considering is starting who do you want to be? Who is it that you want to be? What persona do you want to have? And just the persona that you have right now may be awesome. Maybe that's what you want to continue reinforcing. Perfect. But it doesn't have to be that. You get to choose the who that you want to be. You get to choose that every single day with obviously the actions that you end up doing. And you tell me what actions you do, I'll tell you what life you're going to have. And you don't change your life. You can't change your life. You change your habits. The moment you change your habits, your life completely changes. Not instantaneous. It's not I eat a broccoli, all of a sudden I'm an athlete. It doesn't work that way because the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not that way. But if you're willing to be patient, that's basically the through line. I eat a broccoli, I become healthy. I may need 2 years in between of showing up, but it'll eventually happen. So you start with the who. Everybody here gets to choose the who. You get to choose it. Nobody chooses it for you. Maybe if you're younger and you're my kid's age, I'm kind of forcing them to be a who, and even that wouldn't be necessarily positive or most optimized. But now everybody in this room can choose your own who. Who do you want to be? That's what we started with. Then we went to what do I want to start? What do I want to stop? So the identity drives your behavior as opposed to the other way around. And surprisingly, actually, action drives feelings. Sometimes we think it's the other way around. You know, I feel like working out today, let me go to the gym. Okay, yes, that works. But you know what also works the other way around? When I don't feel like going to the gym, but I go anyway, you know what happens? You typically end up feeling great and feeling like you want to work out when you do the action anyway, because it reinforces that feeling. Actions affect behavior and feelings and vice versa. So we talked about what do you want to start, what do you want to stop, and then the how. I love the how because we talked about 5 things: daily, easy, incremental, if then celebrate. So basically we said if you're going to start something, it's a whole lot better to say I'm going to do it every single day. And it's even a whole lot better when you pick the exact time you're going to do that thing that you're going to do daily. So instead of saying I'm going to memorize Quran on Monday, Thursday, and every other Sunday, yeah, you could do that. And if you're amazing in terms of your mind, you could probably keep that in mind and remember it all the time. If you're like me, simple-minded, that won't work. Because once I skip it 1 day or 2 days, I'm going to forget that I committed it's every other Saturday and a Monday and a Friday and so on and so forth. So pick something that you do daily. And if you want to super succeed at it, make it exactly the same time. Every single time. Who here, don't put your hand up, but who here didn't brush their teeth this morning? Probably not very many of us, because it's instinctive. It's been programmed. I get up in the morning, I go use the washroom, and then maybe stand on a scale. Some people do that daily, and then go and just brush your teeth as you do your wudu, because you're going to pray Fajr. You never really have a resistance there. You don't get up and say, oh, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Am I going to brush my teeth today? Let me think about that. Let me have a conversation with my mind. Hey, do you want to brush? I'm not sure. I brushed yesterday. Yeah, but you know the health benefits of brushing? It's been proven in scientific research. Yeah, but you know scientific research is not really that important. I'm young, blah, blah. And you won't have that conversation. I'm being silly because you would have been done brushing your teeth by that time. You get up and you brush because that's what you're programmed to do. Imagine every time you use the washroom, you do push-ups. Is that possible? Absolutely, it's possible. Something you can program. Or every time you use the bathroom, you make wudu. Is that possible? Absolutely possible. Bilal, one of the Sahaba, used to do that. Every time he'd use the washroom, he'd make wudu. And then every time he'd make wudu, he would pray 2 rak'at to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It became his sunnah that some of us follow now. It's programmed. He doesn't need to think about it. It's super easy to install. It's super hard to install, but once it's installed, it's super easy to continue doing it. So doing it daily, making it super easy was the second thing. Don't pick a hard ceiling. Pick something simple that you can increment, which is the third point, increment and build on. And then if-then implementation intentions and celebrating. If-then implementation intentions simply says, if this happens, I will do X. And I talked about it with the driving. If somebody cuts me off, I'm going to say, Alhamdulillah. If, then, that's a cue. The cue happened if, then I do that action. If I use the washroom, I'm going to get out and do push-ups. Boom. You just installed something. If I'm this was mentioned to me and I started doing it and then I stopped, but it was really actually clever. You know, moms always have a cup of coffee that they keep preheating in the microwave 17 times because they can never drink it because they're always working very hard and tirelessly in the house. So every time you put your coffee in the microwave and press on, go do something. Maybe a plank, maybe a push-up, maybe a jumping jack or a squat or what have you. Helen used to do squats, I think. She'd turn on the microwave and then she would go and do squats because that's it. Microwave's on, I'm doing squats. Simple if then, but it can have amazing effects if you continue to do that. And lastly, celebrating. And it's not from an envy, it's not from a narcissistic, check me out, I'm amazing, yay, I'm going to celebrate because inherently, look at me, I'm awesome. No, not at all. We talked about this sense of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me the capacity to do that which I said I would do. That's worth celebrating. That's what you're celebrating. Not that you're super awesome. Maybe you are super awesome. Some of us think that, and some of us may be that. But what you're celebrating is Allah's tawfiq on you. Because when you feel good, you tend to do that habit again. Because it's that loop that Asma reminded me of today, where the trigger, the behavior, and the trigger, the cue or prompt, and then the behavior, and then the reward. Yes, Asma has her hand up. Yes. There you go. The cue, the craving, the response, and then the reward. And the main point here is that reward is what completes the loop. If there is no reward, the loop doesn't finish. Meaning, I put my hand on the stove, ouch, it hurts. There's no reward there. I'm not going to repeat that. Or if I do something and I don't get a reward at the end, it's very hard to repeat the exercise. However, you do something, it gives you a reward, your body naturally goes to want to do that again. Chocolate works that way. I feel bad, Sheikh Adnan yelled at me. No, he doesn't yell. But let's say he did, and I feel bad, and I go and eat a bunch of chocolate. What happens? I just feel great afterwards, because that sensation, that sweet, that sugar high comes in right away. So guess what? Every time he yells at me, I'm going to eat chocolate. And then there you go. We all lose at the end. Actually, another example of reward, I reflected on this actually when I talked last week about the pool and putting your feet in and it's freezing. And I have to admit, I actually think it's crazy to go swimming when it's minus 50 outside and it's cold and you're tired and it's usually Saturday morning and you just left your bed and it's kind of comfy. But why do I just keep doing it and I have to fight with my wife because she wants to go sometimes? It's because how I feel afterwards. It's not how I feel in it. In it, it's tough and you're racing and you're actually not swimming, la 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 la, you're timing yourself and there's laps that you're trying to do and it's painful and you're not breathing and you got to get your head out of the water. It's a whole complicated process and it's tough. And I never go and say, hey, I'm happy that I'm swimming, but every single time I get out of the pool, the day, like the few hours after, actually the rest of the day, I'm just a different person. I'm super happy. And you can ask Asma, how is he before, when he swims and when he doesn't swim. So now my body says, my brain says, time to go to swimming. Yes, it'll happen. Yes, there's a lot of pain, but I know how I'm going to feel afterward. That becomes my reward. I don't need to eat chocolate after swimming because the endorphins are my reward in and of themselves. And the last thing that we talked about is embracing the process. The process will be hard. It took you years to build the pathways in your mind to behave the way you're behaving right now. Years. And that's a good thing, actually. Can you imagine having to learn how to walk every single morning? You forgot how to walk. So you get up every day and say, oh, I got to remember how to walk. What do? Oh, I put my foot and then take the weight off and put it on the next one and go through that every single morning of your life. You can't function anymore. And that's driving a car and writing on a pen with a pen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it so easy on us because once we know something and it's programmed, it's just habitual. And most of our actions, how much? Some people say 95 or 90 or 80 or whatever. The school is out on this. It doesn't matter. A high proportion of what we do every day is not something that we think about. It's in our subconscious. Many of you drove here today or potentially were in a car driven here. Do you remember how you got here? I drove. I don't really remember. I didn't say, oh, it was green and I turned it. It's just you turn your brain off and you're doing something else and all of a sudden you arrived safely. Bifadlillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's habitual. Imagine doing that or istighfar or connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or doing your Quran or doing your worship or doing your daily activity with the sense of worship. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. And it's not just the Sahaba or the Tabi'een that used to do it. You can do it too. It doesn't wither away with time. If you choose to implement this, you could be sitting here in cloud 9. You could be like in a different state all day, every day of pure happiness and joy and flourishing and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you're doing all the habits that led to that. This is why we're spending so much time on this because it's not about theory. I can put up 15 slides and talk to you about it. It's about you deciding, I want to do this and I want to pay the price. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. and I'm going to fail, and I'm going to try again, and I'm going to fail, and I'm going to try again. And if you fail 50 times, Allahu A'lam, but I think Allah will look at you and say, you're truthful. Yes, you're truthful. Then I'm going to take 2 steps towards you. You know that hadith where you take 1, he takes 2. Well, that's evidence that you're trying to come towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you're not going to get it from the first try. If you did, you wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here. We're here together because we're all struggling, trying to improve together, inshallah. طيب. Let's go to Menti very quickly. Take a snapshot of this, a scan, and if you can't, go to this code right here. We're going to put it up for a few seconds, and then Ali's going to switch. If you give people just another 10, 15 seconds. And then we're going to start the group exercise, inshallah. Okay, it's going away in 5, 4, 3. Oh, people are still waiting. You got to move up, Asma. Maybe that's why it's not. Yeah. Yeah, you can put the code in. So, yeah, so go to menti.com and the code is 5555. Oh, there it is. 55552487. Okay. So we've got 27 answers, 29. So the question over the past 2 weeks, how have you been with installing one new habit? And first answer, I didn't start anything new. Perfect, 10. I started something but then dropped it right away, 3. I started something and kept it for a while but then dropped it, 10. And I managed to start something new and I'm still consistently doing it. Okay, 43 answers. We're going to stop this very soon. Oh, who's going to win? Number 1, number 4? 15. Okay, so it's actually interesting. So you're about a third. A third didn't install anything, and that's perfect. That's beautiful. We didn't expect you would, but that's fine. And people, about another maybe 18, started but then dropped it. This is actually quite shocking to me, is the people who started, 16 now, who started something and kept it going. And I didn't say since day 1 or a day ago or 3 days ago. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. But these are really encouraging results. And I shouldn't be surprised, actually, because you're atypical. Atypical in the sense that you're here to change. So you're kind of primed to be more towards this side. So thank you for that. Let's flip back to the presentation. And I have a slide to anchor me or to remind me to celebrate. I want to celebrate a few people without mentioning them. I'm not going to mention their names. But it brought so much joy to my heart when I found out separately through other channels that, you know, there's amongst us people who decided that they're going to get physical every single day. That's it. They've decided that they're out of shape and they're not happy with where they're at, and they're going to do something every single day from that point on. That's super worth celebrating. There's another person who said, I'm going to do planks every single day. Every single day I'm going to do planks. Why? Because I'm having issues with my core and I'm going to get it stronger. Another person said, I'm going to read Quran before I go to sleep, 1 page. And they are telling me these things separately, and again, I'll protect their identity, but it's super heartwarming. And I know they know themselves, and they can feel that, you know, yes, here's a chance for me to demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I'm earnest and I'm serious. And that is worth celebrating. What we're celebrating is Allah's barakah on us. When you make that commitment and all of a sudden it's been like 3, 4, 5 days in a row that you did it, it's because Allah allowed you to do it. He looked into your heart and He says, yeah, you're honest. I know you're honest. You don't need to prove it to anybody else. But because you're showing up, I'm going to be there right with you. That's worth celebrating. طيب. Failure is part of the process. We talked about it. The last thing I want to say on this is the Hall of Fame. So if you're into sports, anybody here into sports? No? Yes? 1 person. Just the white person in the room. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. I know Rob, so it's fine. I've been seeing him weekly for the last 2 months. We're all into sports. I know many of us are. Even if it's ping pong, that still counts. That's a sport. So, you know, you have a Hall of Fame. And who gets in the Hall of Fame? Like Babe Ruth. You guys heard of who Babe Ruth is? No? Come on. One person. You guys are killing me, man. You're so unwhite. Completely. So the Hall of Fame is the people that go there are the people that are really rose up to the top of their game. Whether it's baseball or football or whoever, or hockey or what have you. The great one, 99, ring a bell? No, nothing. Gretzky? Thank you. Okay, some guys are awake. So that's awesome. But you know, most people that enter the Hall of Fame actually have another Hall of Fame that's not recognized that they also enter it. So Babe Ruth hit the most home runs ever for a long time. He also is the one who struck out the most. He struck out the most. So if you count out all the people that struck out, he ranks pretty high as well. You're like, how does that work? You're in the Hall of Fame for success, but you're in the Hall of Fame of failure. Because they didn't see it as failure. They went at bat every single time, and they struck out a lot, and that made them win because they kept on getting better and better and better. If you think Babe Ruth was who he was a great baseball player. If you think he was born that way, yeah, you'd say this is weird. You either are in the Hall of Fame for success or for failure, but he was in both. To get to the Hall of Fame of success, you got to go through the pain of failure. But they didn't see that as failure. When you go and take that shot and it doesn't go in, they're like, oh, I must be bad, and start self-loathing yourself. No, they're like, I tried, it didn't work, I'm going to learn something better so I can do it better next time. The poster child for this is Michael Jordan. You guys don't know who Michael Jordan is, right? Okay, except Ibrahim, nobody else knows. So let's see if this video will play. This is him talking about his failure. So you see that and you say, wow, this guy is amazing. And if you saw the second half, yeah, he is amazing. But he's amazing because he failed so many times. He wasn't born that way. If you are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and happen to be a person who really has joy of ibadah, you're not born that way. You're not born that way. You're born like Lean, my daughter, who can't even walk or learns how to walk but wants everything for herself. That's how we're all born. We're all like that. And then we go through a refinement process. If you see failure as failure, traditional sense, shame, guilt, self-loathing, yes, you will not move ahead. You will not step to bat because you don't want to feel the pain of failure. If on the other hand, you say failure is necessary for success, it's actually a reverse indicator. The fact that you're failing means you're trying, and the fact that you're trying means you're going to get better. So failure is part of the process and should be a reverse indicator that you're doing something right. طيب, let's get into a group exercise. Anybody know who this gentleman is? Wow, excellent. He said whether you got to attend every session from now on because it's amazing. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Basically, he's kind of coined for saying that. It's what is your attitude about anything that you want to do. If you truly, genuinely believe that you could do that thing, it's going to be hard, but you could do it, eventually it'll get done. If you think you're going to fail at it and you'll never get it done, you're going to be right as well, and you won't be able to accomplish that. So let's go to Menti and talk about obstacles. One more Menti exercise, and then we're going to break you up into groups, inshallah. You guys are going to be doing the work from now on. So the code is going to be at the top. I'll read it out if you didn't have a chance to take the picture. The code, again, is 555-2487. Yeah, 4 5s. 5555-2487. Thank you, Ali. You're amazing. So, what obstacles could stop you from installing a habit that you'd like to start doing consistently? Put whatever you think is down. This is a word cloud, so whatever you think, just put it up. And that actually will be the exercise we do next. So time, laziness, motivation, YouTube, tired, energy, interesting, discomfort, other work, stress, lack of time management, distractions, time and laziness seems to be getting a lot of attention, school, stress, discomfort, procrastination, my desires, mood, discipline. Excellent. Okay, so it seems motivation, laziness, and time is the predominant reasons. I actually can push back on all of those, but that's fine. That's not the point of this exercise. How many people voted? 40. So that's enough. Let's go back to the presentation, inshallah. Sure. Keep it for a second. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's not blame. Problems are sitting even in a place where are external problems.
Mm-hmm.
A place where there were external person would ask these things. 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Very nice reflection. Yep.
It reflects the value of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, this is within your control. If you want to change, you absolutely can. Very hard to admit to that because it's painful. We'd love to say, I'm not changing or the ummah is not changing because of A, B, C, and we know what A, B, C is. We're not going to mention them so nobody gets sued here, but it's not A, B, and C. It's me. And if I say it's me, it hurts. You mean the ummah is in this situation because of me? Yes, it's because of me. Yes. No, that hurts. Let me think of something else. No, it's you. Whether you accept it or not, it's up to you, but it is you and it is me and it's all of us. So thank you for that. If we can flip back to the presentation. And now we want to pair you or put you up in groups and we're going to have a couple of reflection exercises. What I'd like you to focus on is to drill deeper into this. What are the reasons that makes it hard for people to stay consistent doing what's important to them? As a group, really, what are those reasons? That's step one. You just did it all separately. We're going to do it in a group. But step two is, what can we do? Okay, what can we do? If it's time, if it's laziness, if it's YouTube, What can we do to overcome this? Or maybe it's impossible. We can't overcome this. This is just ingrained in us and the shaitan is too big and we just have to give up. I think we don't need to give up. I think it'd be so much despair if we come to that conclusion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built us, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a beautiful example of hope. Beautiful hope that yes, things can get better. And the definition of hope is simply believing that your future will be better than the present. That's it. So how can we be hopeful and say we can overcome those things that we mentioned? So please, if Abu Ali can kind of pair you up in groups or does his magic, we're going to take a few minutes where you guys focus on the two questions. First, what are the common roadblocks? And two, how to overcome them. Okay.
I think 6 to 8 people is good. I think a good group. Just want to come over here. Just pair up.
Okay, we're going to give you another minute and a half, and then we're going to regroup. Okay. I hate to stop you guys because I see a lot of good discussion. And nobody's listening to me anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'll just talk to Aisha. Aisha, how are you doing? Are you doing well? Excellent. We miss you. Are you going to be ready for the 18th? They don't know what the 18th is all about. Yes, we will. Muhammad Faid over the weekend. No, he's coming on the weekend. Inshallah, we'll set it up. Okay, are we all done? Assalamu alaikum, Maisa. How are you? My wife is giving me the look. So, I need Abu Ali to facilitate very, very quick debrief because we've got another exercise and I'm going to prove Sheikh Adnan wrong. He said, you're not going to finish tonight. I said, I'm going to finish this lecture tonight. So I need you guys to be super brief, 60 seconds maximum, and tell me what the top thing that you think gets in the way and how to overcome it. And we'll start with Dina, or whoever Dina is passing the mic to. 60 seconds, go. Sorry? Whatever you want to give me.
Okay. So what are the reasons that make it hard for people to stay consistent to what's important to them? So understanding what is important to them and why. Like that's the first thing that you have to establish. Lack of clarity for why and losing sight of purpose. Lack of self-discipline and maturity. Lack of motivation. So how can you ensure a better outcome next time? Surround yourself with people with the same goals and like change the environment. Like your physical environment will reflect, how you'll act, right? So baby steps also, like one day at a time and slowly jump, like instead of slowly jumping into the new habit, because, sometimes a lot of the time that doesn't work. Organizing and managing your time is really important. Like putting in that, managing the time and putting in a little, like a structured outline or outlining what you want to do beforehand before you jump into that. And thinking about how you feel when you don't do that thing, or remembering how good it feels to motivate you to do it again.
Beautiful, mashallah. Okay. Excellent, thank you very much. All of that is wonderful. The first one, you hit the nail on the head with the environment.
Yeah, that was like the most important one that I wanted.
One of the best ways to get gritty is to join a gritty culture. One of the best ways to lose weight is join a culture where having excess weight is just not something that is done. You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with, whether it's in terms of money, social status, physical appearance. the people you spend the most time with, you end up kind of reflecting. So if you don't like what you're doing now, go and join the other group that you want to be like, and eventually it'll happen. So thank you for sharing all that. The group, the guys, 60 seconds. I'm going to cut you off. So the top of each, if you don't mind.
Assalamu alaikum. So one of the big things we came down to, one of the biggest barriers that kind of encompasses a lot of different things was louder. Okay, was the instant gratification that we experience nowadays, and how it inhibits like a lot of our long-term goals, and it prevents us from actually getting things done because it's so easy to get a quick rush and a quick reward, right? So the solutions we came to were like the biggest one was self-discipline, learning how to limit yourself, regulate what type of entertainment you're taking in. We talked about screen time, stuff like that, and really how defining your goal and being positive, like maintaining a positive attitude that what you're doing will achieve your goal. And then attributing value to the things that you want to do, right? And then also like not limiting yourself to just like, okay, this is my task, always going the extra mile, and just getting yourself to do these things will eventually lead to more control over yourself and self-discipline, which will then, like, they all feed into each other, and it makes everything a lot easier.
Virtuous loop that we're talking about. Excellent, where you do something good and it makes you want to do more good things in the future. One more sisters group. Sorry, we're not going to get to everybody because I'm going to prove Sheikh Adnan wrong for the first time in my life. So one more group to tell us the top problem that you guys identified and one outcome that you could overcome it, basically.
Okay, I'm going to try not to say what someone else has already said, but so reasons what make it hard for someone. I think one of the things we talked about was like recognizing why you started it in the first place. So purpose, and that's basically what we said for the first question. And second question, so what can we ensure to make it feel better, to ensure a better outcome? Changing your environment was the one we talked about a lot. We talked about how the weather has a big impact on who you like choose to surround yourself with, or the actions that you do every day, like going to the gym, for example. Like you would probably go to the gym in like minus 10-degree weather if you knew it was like a 15-minute drive away, versus going in the summertime for someone who enjoys the warmer weather. So that was what we talked about.
Absolutely, very, very good. How would you be as the type of person that would go to the gym regardless of weather, because the weather is something outside of your control? You can develop that eventually with time, that whether it's cold or late or warm or the AC is working, you're here at Taraweeh. You do that already. When it's Taraweeh time, it doesn't matter what's happening outside. You have yourself here. I don't want to use the other word, but you get yourself here because it's super important to you, or you've built it as a habit or what have you. So yes, I recognize all of that. At the same time, you still can overcome that. It really isn't about the weather. It's about me dealing with the weather when it arises, or with laziness, or with lack of motivation. Excellent. Everything is great. Thank you, guys. I'm going to also suggest that taking the experimenter mindset is one way to overcome it. What does that mean? When you try to do something and you quote unquote fail, there's two orientations, many orientations you can have, but the two main ones is look at me, I'm bad, I suck, I'm not good, I'll never be able to accomplish this, I say stuff, I never get it done. This feeling of beating yourself down, again, if it works for you, please do more of it. If that works for you and this motivates you to do better, keep doing more, inshallah. And we can wait for Badr until he's done. It's okay, continue. We've got all day. Sorry. Or you can take the different orientation where you say, fine, I'm collecting data. I'm a scientist. I'm in a lab coat and I'm collecting data. I said I want to get up for Fajr and I didn't get up for Fajr. Okay, beat yourself up. If that works, go ahead, do that. If it doesn't work, stop, pause, and say, okay, I'm collecting data in the sense that what didn't make it work? I really, really wanted to get up for Fajr, and I didn't. I slept in. Well, guess what? I was watching Netflix till 2 in the morning. Maybe that had something to do, maybe not, but maybe it did. Okay, I collected data. When I'm up till 2 in the morning watching Netflix, I'm likely to miss Fajr. Is it possible to move it till 1 o'clock? Watch Netflix. Okay, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that, or play Xbox. But maybe pull it back an hour and run some more experiments. Oh, I'm still missing Fajr. Okay, try to sleep at 10, see what happens. Oh, when I sleep at 10, I'm naturally up at 4 or 5, and Fajr is at 6:30. I'm not going to miss it. Interesting. That's more data. So the more you experiment, the more you're going to collect data, the more you're going to figure out what works for you. Because there is no one way. What works for me is not going to work for you. And what works for my wife definitely won't work for me, and vice versa. Because we're all idiosyncratic in our nature. What does that mean? Buzzword, it means that you're unique in the way you are created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created one of you, didn't create two. Even if you have a twin brother or sister, they're different than you. Their experiences, the way they were brought up, their environments, it's all different. Figure out what works with you. How do you do that? By putting that mindset on. No emotion, you're just collecting data. And it's all about recalling the positive experiences and not the negative experiences. When you slip, when you take that shot and you miss it, and you ruminate over that over and over and over. I yelled at my mom. Oh my God, how could I do that? Yes, when you replay that in your head 1,000 times, you're probably not going to get a positive outcome versus focusing on the times you actually got what you wanted done, and replaying that in your mind over and over again. It reprograms your brain to or continue that behavior that you're reinforcing to yourself. طيب. I'm going to talk about two things, or one thing and then pass it back to you guys. Two things and then pass it back to you guys. This is a skyscraper being built. And how do I know it's a skyscraper? Because this is where the ground level is, and look how far they go down. And it's basically, you want to see how tall a building is going to be? Look at the foundation. You want to build a one-story house? Cool, no problem. You need what, 6, 8 feet down, and you can build a house. That's 1 story, 2 stories high. You want to build a skyscraper, that won't work. You're going to tip over once you go down only 8 feet. So you want to get your fundamentals as deep as possible if you want to go high. And we all want to go high. That's why we're here today. We could be in 1,000 other places, but you chose to be at Wellness, at Mentorship, listening to a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about, but because maybe he's going to give you one thing that if you start implementing, your life kind of changes. Maybe. By building that skyscraper up, you got to go down first. And what do we mean by fundamentals? It's the way you eat, the way you sleep, and the way you move. Everybody shares those same 3 basic things. And if you're not eating well, and you're not sleeping well, and you're not moving all day, I'm sorry to tell you, you're unlikely to connect with anything better than yourself. You're unlikely to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're unlikely to become an amazing person. You're unlikely to become successful in your life. You're unlikely to be healthy and feeling radiant and flourishing. I don't make up the rules. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes up those rules. You want to take one step closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're empty on the inside, you can't move forward. You cannot move forward. Our scholars have been telling us this. Our scientists have been telling us this. Pay attention to the fundamentals. We never talk about this. We talk about everything else, but unfortunately, all of our bellies are out and our sleeping is bad, and we never move all day, and we sit and program in front of a computer 24/7. Yeah, and then we wonder, why are we like this? We're like this because we're not focusing on what matters most. But how is me eating going to bring back Palestine? It won't. Of course, you eating healthy won't. But it's the first step to you becoming a better individual that can actually miraculously do the hard work that will bring about the change that we need to happen. Please focus on your own fundamentals, and you can control that. Don't tell me what you put in your mouth is controlled by some group or some politician somewhere around the earth. I don't buy that. Yeah, maybe you can say, well, our countries are being oppressed because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, but what you put in your mouth? No, sorry, you control that. When you decide to put your head on the mattress, you decide that. Whether you get up and stretch every while or not, you decide that. Nobody else decides it. I want to leave you with Whoop. I love this tool. Love this tool. And we were going to do an exercise, but I've just decided we're not going to do it because I am going to prove Sheikh Adnan wrong, and I'm going to finish on time, inshallah. I love this tool. It's called Whoop. Sounds cool, and what it stands for is wish, obstacle, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. Basically, I want to start a new habit. That's my wish. I want to start memorizing Quran, or I want to do tasbih every day, or I want to pray sunnah on a daily basis. Whatever your wish is, you start by outlining what that wish is for you. Excellent. Point number 2, what is the outcome? Basically, what is the benefit of me doing that? Why is me picking up the phone and speaking to my mom every day a wish that I want to implement? Because I'm going to feel great, I'm going to feel connected, she's going to make dua for me, and I'm going to feel on top of the world. Whatever your outcomes are that are important to you, what are those benefits? Outline them. And I'm saying reflect on every single one of these for this to work. The next thing is to say, what is going to hit me in the face? What is the obstacle that I know I'm going to face? I want to call my mom every day and speak with her. Maybe I speak to her once every 3-4 days, and she doesn't like it, and I don't like it, and I feel guilty, and so on and so forth. So I want to change that, but what's going to get in the way of me saying, oh, from tomorrow, moving on, I'm going to call her every single day? Well, I'm going to get busy. I'm going to forget. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to. You know what those obstacles are. You know them. It's your life. Nobody can tell you what they are because we don't live in your head. You live in your head. What are they? Outline them. For you. You want to come pray Fajr every morning? Excellent. Obstacle, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's too cold. I'm too tired. I don't have a ride. List them. Excellent. The last thing is the most important step. What is my plan for overcoming these obstacles before they happen? And you do that when you're in a state when you're ready to think about this. It's tough to put a plan in place when life punches you in the face right in the moment. It's tough because you've just been hit. However, if you say, hold on, I actually did the work already and I know what the plan is. If I'm about to give a speech and I get nervous, maybe that's what happens to you, my plan is stop, calm, astaghfirullah, 5 deep breaths. That centers me and gets me to say, why am I here? I'm here not to focus on myself. I'm here to help one person. I'm about to give a speech to 1,000 people. I'm not going to think of 1,000. I'm going to think of one person that I can help. Calm down, breath. I'm centered, move on. So you've already solved the problem before it happens. So what you end up doing is actually just going through the motions. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. We had a group activity. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to end this session with a few more slides. And then, inshallah, you guys have one homework to do afterwards, which is your contract. I had also a Rubik's Cube thing, but it's not going to play because the media is not ready, but that's fine. I will leave you with this video and your homework, those 2 slides, and then we'll end. Can somebody hit play on that for me, please? This is all about consistent action. Can you move the mouse out of the picture? Perfect.
ราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ยอมรับได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
Jazakumullah khair. Can we get the lights? So basically, that's an example of the mundane and the sublime coming through the mundane. I love this video. I can't get tired. I watched it maybe a few hundred times and I always get the same reaction. You do the simple stuff over and over again and life changes for you. So your homework for next time, for now on, if you could go to the next, there it is. Because Salah is in 1 minute. Is your homework is to describe your new habit as concretely and as precisely as possible. I'd like all of you guys to take the 3 sessions that we've gone through and make a promise to yourself that you will describe one thing that you will add, and if you're already doing, maybe reinforcing it as concretely as possible, and make that intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it's for His cause. I hope this was helpful. Jazakumullahu khair, and we'll pray inshallah.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.